Lisa's bedroom was in ruins. Soon they'd gnawed a huge hole in the wall. Early the next morning, Marge opened the cabinet and was shocked to see Flanders next door through the gap. Bart's hand had just touched the door when the doorknob came loose and fell.
Bart, what's your potty mouth?
Homer, who was in the bathroom, suddenly plummeted from the ceiling. Even Lisa's carefully built small structure was completely smashed, and a professional inspector confirmed they weren't ordinary termites, but Russian giant-toothed termites with extraordinary chewing power. Marge complained to Homer about always hiring cheap workers, but Homer explained he'd chosen them because their sign looked funny. The worker started exterminating the termites. A group of school bullies passed by, thinking the tent was a circus. They climbed over the wall to get in, but were dragged out by the repairman as soon as they entered. The worker told them the house would take 6 months to repair. Marge and Homer tried to find a hotel, but all rooms were full. Just then, Homer thought of someone, Lenny. When the Simpson family arrived at Lenny's house, they were surprised by how luxurious it was. Homer wondered how he could afford such a nice place.
What the hell was that?
It turned out Lenny shared a wall with a tennis court, and he found the sound of Jai-Li balls hitting the wall therapeutic. The group then went to Moe's Tavern. Marge thought the smell of alcohol was too strong. Even Maggie seemed drunk just from inhaling it. Moe invited Homer to a drinking contest that night, but Lisa firmly opposed it, saying the tavern wasn't suitable for the family. At that moment, Barney mentioned a reality show offering free accommodation, on the condition that participants only use 1895-style daily necessities. They went to the reality show audition. The judges found the first family boring with no appeal, but when they saw The Simpsons, the female judge loved their authentic, chaotic style.
Where's that kid with my latte?
Unexpectedly, Homer threw a tantrum on the floor because he didn't get his latte, yet the judges nodded unanimously to let them through. The staff led the family to a vintage villa. Homer saw a jar under the bed, thought it was a soldier's helmet, and put it on his head. The staff reminded him it was a chamber pot, but Homer insisted they were just jealous of his good looks. In the following days, the Simpsons lived a retro life. They wore costumes provided by the show. Making breakfast alone took 6 hours. Homer's face was covered in shaving cuts, but he still felt happy. They drove an old coal-powered car that stopped by crashing into walls. At the convenience store, Apu only let them buy items that existed in 1895. Marge wasn't even allowed to buy tampons. The family was miserable. Lisa complained the bread tasted like a rag. Bart thought the house was freezing, and Marge hated the terrible smell.
Yeah, I can't wait to see which one of them dies first.
But Homer felt they couldn't slack off since they were on the show. Gradually, the family's life became harmonious. Homer carved a pacifier for Maggie. Marge fed Bart cod liver oil, and Lisa helped Marge with knitting. However, viewers found this dull content boring, and the show lost a lot of audience. Just then, the producer came up with a great idea. That night, while the Simpsons were sound asleep, a helicopter arrived and lifted the entire house away. Homer woke up in shock. His house was floating on the water. Lisa figured the show's crew had moved it to make the program more engaging. Marge threw a rope to Homer, who climbed back inside and shouted angrily at the crew for being inhumane, but the crew coldly replied they'd signed a contract and had to accept all arrangements. Just as Homer was about to fight back, the house suddenly shook violently and crashed into an exposed rock. The Simpsons scrambled out, turning around just in time to see the house collapse into rubble. Homer knelt on the ground and cried, while the crew started enjoying a delicious lunch nearby. The Simpsons finally realized they'd been tricked. At that moment, a group of savages approached. Homer went to talk to them, and learned they were also victims abandoned by the show after being tricked. The savages wanted revenge and proposed teaming up with Homer. They agreed on a plan. While the crew was eating happily, the savages charged down with stones, throwing them at the crew, tipping over tables, and even destroying cameras. The savages succeeded in their revenge. Homer then lifted a huge boulder and aimed it at the crew's helicopter, but just as he was about to throw it, his legs sank into the soil.